I'm in your sweaty pocket. I'm in your sweaty smartphone pocket. And I'm just this little tiny face, and I'm kind of like an app. Where we're up to at this period in history is a bit of a weird time, I'm sure you'd agree. There's more and more evidence piling up that we're living inside of a simulation. I hate that, that's so awkward. There's more and more evidence piling up that we're going to be merging with artificial intelligence at an accelerated rate, more than we already are. I'm already merged with my smartphone, I don't know about you, but I'm spending way too much time looking at stuff. The element of unprocessed emotion comes in when you say, well, what ultimate purpose does this serve? It's so good at what it's designed for. It's a tool of distraction, and I'm sure that that is impacting the quality of my consciousness. It's an important thing to consider, you know, what we're giving our time and attention to. I don't know if you guys are watching American Gods, where Medea, the goddess of media, comes on the TV and says, I'm here to receive worship, but not in the form of lamb's blood, in the form of time and attention.
Look at me, Shadow. All in high def. We shot the show in 35mm. Cutting edge. Looks like hell in the transfer. Funny how things supposed to make you look good only make it worse. I can't even fill the whole screen.
What the fuck is this?
Just little old me.
Talking to Lucille Ball.
Lucy Ricardo. I'm all sword, Shadow. The screen's the altar. I'm the one they sacrifice to. Then till now. Golden age to golden age. They sit side by side, ignore each other, and give it up to me. Now they hold a smaller screen in their lap or in the palm of their hand so they don't get bored watching the big one. Time and attention. Better than lamb's blood.
Like during a walk or like a meditation session or something, I was like, holy shit, I'm taking people's time and I'm taking their attention, and that's a really precious thing. That's a really high value commodity, and I implore you to consider what you're giving your time and attention to. Which God am I feeding? These tools of distraction are taking you, taking me, taking us out of our body, out of the present moment, out of reality and into another reality. One of the things that is happening is that there is now a new reality that we're being created. I claim. The internet used to be about reality. It was a reflection of reality. It was the shadow on the wall.
Set. We're riding on the internet, cyberspace, set free. Hello, virtual reality.
Interactive appetite, searching for a website, a window to the world, got to get online.
Take a spin, now you're in with a techno set. You're going surfing on the internet.
And now what we're seeing is there is a reality to the virtual. The internet is less and less about reality and more about itself. The more the internet becomes self-referential, the more a whole new dimension is growing. Which god or goddess is currently sucking my energy out without my consent and without even my knowledge? And you know, we need to be very, very much aware of that. So whether you're looking at the internet or you're considering like a postmodern deconstruction of religion that is offered in the book American Gods and in the series, what we give our time and our attention and our belief to grows in power, particularly what we give emotion to. Now, can we say that the internet doesn't become a dumping ground for emotions? Often the negative emotions kind of get dumped and pushed out there. But I know very well, and I've proven multiple times in my own life, that that thought pattern and the emotion that is guiding it creates reality. And that's the other thing that the internet does, is it erodes boundaries, but not in the positive way. I'll do my Terence McKenna impression. It even breaks boundaries between you and your washing machine. This kind of boundary breaking is the boundary breaking that doesn't connect me to you. It actually separates me from you, because there are external boundaries and there are internal boundaries. There's a lack of boundaries now between the public space and the private space. Because the internet is training us to feel entitled to everything and everyone. Access to everything and everyone.
The appetite for distraction is infinite.
You're looking for insight.
I can choke them with trivia, drown them in passive pleasures, and devastate their spirituality with baby talk.
On any given week, I will have more than 3 or 4 emails from people who are furious with me that I will not simply give them my time and my attention for free. And I try explaining to them, I'm like, this is my job, this is my profession. I don't think you'd ask your dentist to work for free. I don't really know why. But then again, I also know it's because I'm here. It's because I'm on the internet, which means I'm in your pocket. I'm in your sweaty pocket. I'm in your sweaty smartphone pocket. And I'm just this little tiny face, and I'm kind of like an app. I'm now reduced to an app in some sense, and then in another sense, I'm blown up to something else. And I think people's grasp of reality is slipping, is actually getting worse. So the inner boundaries would be, what is a thought, what is a feeling, and what is my self-image versus what is my beliefs. And that all just gets thoughts, feeling, self-image, belief, desire. Nah, I want it, I must have it. No impulse control, no self-discipline. External boundaries would be, that's your problem, not my problem. So what you will have, if we keep down the road we're on now, is a blurring where people will become more and more narcissistic and more predatory, and at the same time, they will become more and more what we have been calling codependent. They will be more and more open to abuse, because the internet also makes people incredibly impressionable. That's why we're having this ludicrous argument about fake news. I mean, what does that mean? What has that ever meant? As though over here there is the news, which is the real, and nobody ever put a spin upon it. No news agency ever had an agenda, or ever had a political leaning one way or the other, versus this other stuff. Boys and girls, come on now, what are we, 12? It's a full-on boundary-breaking crash that we're facing, where a president and a meth head in a trailer in Arizona can argue on Twitter within seconds. So all of the boundaries are breaking. All of this is actually pandering to the worst elements of human nature, and it will make us less intelligent and more impulsive, more easy to control, and that worries me. The emotional literacy that we need might help with this. Unprocessed emotion over time stops being the emotion that it started out being. So if you feel a massive amount of shame or a massive amount of fear or a massive amount of anger, repress and deny, repress and deny, repress and deny. Let's say shame, for example. When I say to people, narcissistic personality disorder is a shame-based personality disorder, they go, no, it's not. My narcissist wasn't ashamed of anything. He or she was the most shameless person I've ever known in the world. I'm like, no. Shame-based. So shame from childhood, huge shame, repressed and unexpressed over time, ossifies, calcifies, rots, changes. It now becomes a gunk. It now becomes a mutated version of what shame is. Like when you have a little moment of shame, that's an authentic emotion, and then you have neurotic emotions. All of the repressed emotions become neurotic. What happens? If people keep repressing their true emotions and not expressing them, they can become very, 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 very sick. They can become emotionally infantile. They can become mentally very, very ill. They can get huge amounts of depression. They can get huge amounts of anxiety. And many times people are saying that they're depressed or saying that they're anxious because they don't have any other words to describe the shit show of what they're feeling, or sometimes of what they're not feeling. Because for some people, they just flatten out. They just go completely numb. All of this can be protected against. We can defend ourselves against all of this through becoming more emotionally literate. In essence, you learn to apply more words to an emotion. So instead of going, I'm fucking pissed off, you would be able to say, I'm really disappointed, I'm frustrated, and I feel ripped off. So we started with, you're pissed off, and then we gave it more words. We just gave the emotion more words. And you might think, that's ridiculous, how's that gonna help anybody? Through doing that, And through acknowledging that and actually looking at the emotion and saying, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Emotion, you're a part of me. You're not an unwelcome guest who's not allowed past the castle gates, who's to be fobbed off and sent away to live, you know, outside and to die somewhere, because they never do. They never go off and die. They just go underneath the castle and rot in the dungeons, and then the stink comes up. And you break it down and you say, okay, well, where's the grief coming from? Where's the sadness coming from? Where's all this rage coming from? Why am I so frustrated? What's behind it? And give it words and expand it out, and then actually turn around to that messenger, which is the emotion, and say, okay, I hear you. You have said this, 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 and this, and I'm going to do something about what you've told me, Mr. Messenger or Mrs. Messenger. I'm going to do this, this, and this. If you process it, and you give that messenger action steps that you're going to take that satisfies the messenger, which is emotions, it'll leave you alone. It'll go away. But you must address the emotions. That means permitting the emotion. That means welcoming the emotion. That means acknowledging the emotion. I'm not pushing you away. If I push it away, it's going to come back. If you can be brave, if you can witness the emotion, then let it come. Let it come like waves. That's the way I always think of it. It's like when you walk down the beach and it's silent and you're just listening to the sound of the waves, and they come in and they go out. They come in and they go out. And they've been doing that for millennia before we arrived, before we got here. That exact same sound, the waves coming in and coming out. And they'll be there for millennia long after we're gone. It's infinite. The whole thing is infinite. Our perception of time is actually locking us into part of the problems that we're facing at the moment. It's infinite, and it's now. It's always now. It's always in this moment. Bad emotion comes in, you let it flow in. Keep breathing, you hold it, you just let it be inside of the body, and you release. You breathe out, you breathe in, you breathe out. It's never just like one big thing. It comes in waves. It comes and it goes. It comes and it goes, and you have to trust the process.